Let's give this a shot. Mikayla, pronouns they, them, is calling from Georgia. Welcome, Mikayla. You've got a question for us.
Yeah, glad to be back on the show. I called here before, and essentially, I'm a black person who I deconverted Christianity began in 2024, and I've been an atheist for like a whole year, right? And now I always felt connected to my culture, but I never really felt connected to my people. And now that I'm an atheist, I feel now I feel even more disconnected from my people, because it's like, I was telling my cousin about this a few weeks ago. It's like a big chunk of my racial identity feels like it's been erased. And I really want to pick Darante's brain about this, because it's like,
absolutely,
as an atheist, yeah.
I would ask real quick, Mikayla, just so that I'm clear, when you say that you feel attached to your community but not your people, can you explain that distinction? I think I understand. I'm not trying to criticize. I just want to make sure I get what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, it's really more so like when it comes to the music, when it comes to like black culture, like hip hop. I love hip hop, love it.
Yeah.
When it comes to like our movies, I feel very connected to that culture. But there's also like when I'm around other black people, sometimes it's like I feel disconnected because I don't have that. Because I was kind of raised to be a cishet black person, and I'm not, and I think that kind of played a part in it. But I guess to simplify it is I like the culture of it, but I just don't really relate to my people on certain areas, especially when it comes to sports and things like that.
I get it. I get it. Okay, so I completely identify with that struggle, and allow me, if you will, to give you some of that history back, right? Because I definitely know what that like. What I often remind people is that much of Black history, from an American standpoint, has been Christ washed, right? So just to give you some perspective, when you look at what we call the civil rights movement, we think of two people, Dr. King and him getting the civil rights movement from Mahatma Gandhi. That is 100% inaccurate. Dr. King got the civil rights movement idea from A. Phillip Randolph, who had been working on the civil rights movement since the 1920s. A. Phillip Randolph was a Black atheist. The movement, almost every movement we've had in this country that has been for Black people's rights has been led by Black non-believers, agnostics, and skeptics. I'll start with Hubert Henry Harrison, who was also from the 1920s. They called him Black Socrates. He was an adamant atheist. Man wrote so many books. Please check him out. But then there was Bayard Rustin, who also worked with A. Phillip Randolph and Dr. King, who was not only a non-believer, but was also a person who was not cis hetero. You also have James Baldwin, who was not a believer. And many of us know about James Baldwin, but James Baldwin indeed was not a believer and was very vocal about it. Langston Hughes, another one, not a believer, very vocal about it. The truth be told, the people who have done the much in our community, for our community, have always been the people who separated themselves from belief, including the Black Panther Party, of course, who we see them more so in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. This is one of the first groups who actually created an organization that fed children. That came from their non-belief, not their faith. And so it is difficult, but I want you to understand that the only reason it's difficult out there is not because you can't relate to your people, but it's because your people's history has been crushed from them. We have an obligation to set our people free. And I'll end it there so I don't get too Black power, Black proud up in here.
Wow, Darante. I gotta say, what you just said, you just blew me away. I did not know that. I did not know secular Black people were involved in these movements.